Oh, we live.
Green light.
We are live.
And it's live. How are we doing, lads? How are we getting on?
I'm doing well.
Not too bad, Jamesy lad.
Yeah, lads. We're here to discuss obviously a very important topic that has happened many months ago now. It's actually mad how quick time has gone by.
Flown boy, yeah.
2 months on?
When is
2
it
months.
when we finished up?
27th of September.
Jeez, this man doesn't miss a beat.
He has got
At
the
2
calendar.
minutes past
for-
eight.
He does. He's got his list of notes here.
I got my notes.
You're a man that
my-
comes prepared, that.
my calendar.
Yeah.
I just last time we tried to speak, because every day was a bit of a blur when they do each other, so at least
Yes.
we know what happened each day.
That's right. Yeah, because we did try
You know
this
what I mean.
before, but it was a bit muddled.
Hectic.
Hectic is a word. But I suppose before we break into how are we all doing, lads?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah,
keeping well, Bruno. Yeah,
Very comfortable here, yeah. Happy days.
it's a nice little studio, isn't it?
It's lovely.
It is.
It's
it
not
is.
bad. It's definitely an upgrade from the back of the garden.
Don't kick yourself. I like
No,
your studio.
not at all. But it's came a long way.
Yeah, this is cool, yeah.
It's a natural progression, obviously,
It is.
from even what we've done ourselves, I suppose, in the sense that this started out once upon a time, triathlon, Dublin City Triathlon.
Mm.
Yeah, 2021, was it? August 2021?
Was it August 2021?
Or 2022?
2022.
2022. I was going to say because the following year was obviously this year, and there was something a bit bigger on the horizon this year, wasn't
There
there?
was. After that, feeling a melancholy after the triathlon.
That's right, man. That was a very weird feeling.
Strange. Yeah.
Very strange. Yeah, so for anyone that is wondering, we are here this evening to discuss the cycle to Croatia. Yeah.
Who wants to kick off? That's the big one.
El Capitano, take it away.
Hi, I'm Brian. I'm the team captain. No, the cycle. Yeah, I think. Look, I mean, we're mentioning the triathlon. We might as well say it. That was our first. Let's call that the first challenge. Before it was a case of the three of us were looking for something to shake it up. We were sort of a little bit tired with the sports we were playing between soccer, Gaelic, a little bit tired of the gym, stuff like that. Picked a challenge which was something that put us out of our comfort zone. Never did it before. Let's do a triathlon, and even to give it a bit more pizzazz, let's only give ourselves 3 weeks to learn how to do a triathlon before it. And we ended up doing the Dublin City Triathlon, and it was meh. Like, I mean, it was nice. It was a good achievement. We're kind of proud that we did it, but none of us won. You were by far the best, and it was still like
200 and something places.
200, yeah, exactly. So it was kind of, that feeling was strange. We had a little bit of an edge to ourselves, where we did something, put ourselves out of our comfort zone, but then we were striving for more. Basically, that's the way I see it. Anyway, it was like it didn't scratch the itch that we had.
Yeah.
And then
Strive for greatness.
yeah, and then we went
Gotta
and
leave
came
Dublin
up.
for that.
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Actually, yeah, but sure, we didn't even leave Dublin. She was 20 minutes there.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And then picked up the idea. I think myself and yourself just chatting one of the days. What could we do that's sort of bigger? And yeah, cycling 2,000 kilometers to Croatia sounded about right.
Yeah.
Did I scratch the itch that you had?
Oh yeah, definitely. Jesus.
Yeah. Tore the skin off.
The skin was well and truly
Jesus,
scratched.
That is very true. Yeah. So obviously, cycle to Croatia, big deal. How many days was in total for anyone that's wondering?
So it's 15 days in total. Well, we said 2 weeks, but we counted the days wrong. We had an extra day, which was a kicker around day 10.
That's right.
But yeah, we did it in 15 days, roughly about 150 kilometers per day, except the Alps, because obviously we're climbing up, so that was only like 60 or 70 kilometers those days.
Yeah, the Alps. That was day 7, 8.
That was day 9.
Day 9. Thanks for correcting me, bro. Day 9. I wasn't going to even kick it off there. Or will we just break into the Alps? I wonder.
I say we're probably jumping ahead a little bit. There's a good bit before that.
Yeah.
I think, look, even just, going back to why it was, I think, so that's the challenge, right? It was 2,000 kilometers in 2 weeks.
Yeah, there's a bit more depth. Come on.
But what you have to remember is, so that the big problem here, that 2,000 kilometers in 2 weeks is a tough ask for a seasoned cyclist. It's a tough ask for people, for semi-pro cyclists, because it's a real endurance thing. It wasn't a question of speed. It was willpower, mentality, and then also experience with being on a bike for that long, nutrition. We didn't know what we were getting into when it came to that, but the fact that we did it with we didn't even have bikes. We did not have bikes before this cycle.
So Darren only learned to cycle on this trip, wasn't it?
Took the stabilizers off.
Exactly.
Away you go.
You know it.
Exactly. So I think that was huge. You have to kind of start there with with nothing, start from absolute bare bones. Like a 60-kilometer trip to Hoth took us like 6 hours.
Yeah,
Took us
madness.
all day,
Yeah.
and we were wrecked and stuff. And then we were like, how on earth in 9 months? It's about 9 months. How on earth from 9 months from January were we going to be able to pull off this exceptional cycle?
Yeah.
Turns out we did.
Yeah.
Well, we got the training going. It was every Saturday we tried to do. With 60 was 80. We broke 100 on the Royal Canal, and then we eventually hit 150 when we went down to. We went from Dublin to Port and then back up to Kildare, Jordan's house. So that was so tough. But like it showed that the training was we're trying to put on more and more kilometers. We're doing a few midweeks. Maybe we weren't doing as much as we should have been doing. But it was. But it turned out we did do enough. Because
crazy
you know
enough.
what I mean?
Crazy enough. The
Strange.
weirdest thing about it all, man, like we definitely didn't train enough to do 15 days of, on average, roughly 150k a day.
Yeah.
But during the trip, we just got gradually fitter. So the more we demanded of ourselves, the more our body kind of gave us.
Yeah.
It was weird.
Yeah,
Because how could we prepare for a 15-day cycle? We couldn't have enough time. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
that's exactly it, Jamesy. I think there's probably, as much as we tried to visualize what it was going to be like, we tried to bridge this massive knowledge gap that we had. We didn't know anything about the bikes, about nutrition, about anything. We tried our best to prepare ourselves, but realistically, there was nothing that was going to prepare us to do that cycle.
Yeah,
like
exactly,
that was a cycle like no other. Even if you look at like when we were on the cycle, we were measuring ourselves against everybody else in the world, and nobody in the world was cycling as much as us for those 2 weeks.
Let that be known, Brian.
Nobody.
No.
Like you
That's right, 'cause
cannot
when we
prepare for
checked
that.
that, I actually remember when we checked that, we were in Lake Garda one morning. We're like,
Yeah.
surely if we just check out Strava here, surely we were in like, I think we were top 5.
It was when we were in Lake Garda, day 11 or so. We were top 3. There was these 2 Nordic lads that had to commute.
Sickos, yeah.
Yeah, they had to commute like 75 kilometers to work every day on their bikes. So they were doing the 150 and stuff. But we caught them on the weekends.
Yeah.
So when we pieced together our two weekends, we overtook them.
Better look next year.
Of course, those guys kept doing it all year long.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
freaks.
If they try to do something more, they blow us out of the water.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah,
Well,
just don't
animals.
try, lads.
Animals, yeah. And then, yeah, anything else to mention, obviously, the beginning of the trip, anything that we didn't touch on there, obviously it was for charity.
Yeah, I think that's
Yes.
key, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that the fact that we could do the challenge is an adventure, but at the same time, we knew it was going to be so hard, so people could potentially be inclined to donate. So we
Yes.
said, look, if we stick the Instagram page up, got in contact with each of our 3 charities that we wanted, that we.
Do you want to list them off?
So your one was Mental Health Ireland,
Correct.
yours was Diabetes Ireland, and mine was Laura Lynn Children's Hospice.
Good man. Yeah.
So got in touch with them. They were delighted that we were doing it, essentially. And then, it was with training. It was with getting knowledge from John Phelan and the boys.
Shout out to John Phelan.
Big dog.
He helped us out so much, man.
He did, yeah. And just getting used to organising things, posting stuff on the Instagram, trying to get the word out that we're actually doing the challenge, which was so tough because you're doing it and you're trying to mix it up a little because you don't want just videos of you on the bike all the time. So
Yeah.
you're trying to change up
Bit
the
more
videos.
personable.
Exactly,
Yeah.
yeah. So that was a challenge in itself.
It was.
And probably something we didn't really envisage. Like so much of our time was gone from trying to make videos, meeting up to record videos,
Oh, yeah.
doing events on the weekend when we're not training. So, but that all, it did come together into
Yeah.
fruition bit by bit.
And
That
how
kind of-
much, if people are wondering now, they're probably wondering, what was the total amount that was raised?
the total amount we hit was €22,000.
Which is a great number, in fairness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I think I was beating myself up a little bit when we finished because we set ourselves a massive target of 60,000. Just maybe a little bit pie in the sky. Look, it's a tough time for everybody at the moment. Never mind to be asking to donate. But what's really key there, that 22,000 is like, I think like 20,000 of it or 19,000 of it was just people donating. Like it wasn't like we had these big, like
Sponsorships.
people throwing in like
Yeah.
corporate sponsorship or anything. Like I think you measured it out there. I might get the numbers wrong, but such a significant amount of people donated. Forget about the number for the moment. There was hundreds and hundreds of actual people just going, you know what they're doing is
It's
really
worthy.
impressive.
Yeah.
I'm gonna reach into my pocket here, which is amazing.
It is, yeah. 22 is not a bad number at all.
No, and the
Not a bad
charity, they're going to use it. Like they're
Yeah.
going to put the good.
Oh, they were
use.
delighted.
Yeah, exactly. I suppose people are probably wondering, what was the average day like? Because 15 consecutive days, obviously, I know there was a few days between day 10, maybe it was after the Alps. We had a few
Yeah.
kind of days that weren't as long in terms of distance,
Yeah.
but definitely we were going up a whole lot longer. The incline was much greater.
Yeah.
How would you describe, I'll give it to you first, Bruno, how would you describe the average day? Like getting up in the morning from,
Yeah.
starting off to finish.
Yeah, I think what was really key with every day was like I think there was and I suppose I'm probably going to lead into a team comment here as well, because we have to say that there's not just the three of us, there's five of us. Okay, so there is, and then there's two very, very important people that helped to our day to day. Like the days couldn't have happened without them, and that's of course Ian Maher and Ross Ennis.
Yeah.
But I bring them in, I guess, now, because Ian and Ross. Basically, Ross drove the van. He was our mechanic. He basically our life source for the entire trip.
2,000 miles.
Yeah.
And back.
And back, yeah.
The van couldn't have been left there. Like he was our lifeline. That van was our beacon. Like every single day, whenever we were really we were stuck, we were a little bit lost, or we were never lost because we had obviously navigation. No, we were lost a good bit.
We were lost a lot of the time.
Between there, but you're going in a general direction, but like that van is like your lifeline. It's the cord, it's the umbilical cord the whole time, just in case.
We're on our own in countries we've never experienced these countries the way we did, and it's just the three of us on our own. But then when we see the van and see the two lads in it, it is like kind of your home in a way, isn't it?
You get like
It was. That's a great point.
Yeah, you get like it's like you get a little bit of a push. You get like that lift from seeing it, because you're like it's a familiar sight. You like we were relating it. So on that van, Ian and Ross were cooking up lunches halfway through every single day.
Pasta special.
Exactly.
So good.
And a bread roll. Fucking
And a
bread
bread
roll.
roll.
Fueling us to actually do this. The two lads were literally every single day, all they were doing was just looking after catering for us.
Yeah, hand on foot, man. It was mad. It actually is mad, because we would have to carry all the stuff that we brought with us.
Yeah.
All the food as well.
Man, it couldn't have happened.
Yeah.
There's no way we would have done it without them. Like, not even close.
Yeah. And there was such a boost, man. You touched on it there, like that familiarity, obviously seeing the lads, because we'd be apart for a couple hours. Okay, we see them in the morning, have the crack, and then you're like, you go maybe 4.5 hours without seeing them, and then you meet them in the middle of the day, you're like, fuck, the boys are here. It's great, and you get a bit of energy, because like it's great being with ourselves, and we almost get so used to being with ourselves. When you have a fresh perspective, or someone you haven't seen in a while, such as Ross and Eno, it's like, oh fuck, just a bit of a relief, and it's different energy.
It
and
releases
the mood is lifted a small bit, and you get there, and fucking Eno's walking out with a bread roll, and I was like, fucking, I'm so grateful. I was so grateful for it, man, because I was so hungry, and you're so depleted of energy.
Yeah.
Like in them middle days, the one day I remember so well, the day I literally thought, lads, I was like, I'm gonna fucking pack this in. I was in bits that third day out in France.
Oh, the third
going
day.
through the wilderness. And when I say wilderness, there was not even a tree in sight. It was just fields everywhere and just roads, and it was probably 30-2 degrees. It was roasting, getting burnt alive. And then your energy is so down, your mood is so low. You get there and the lads have food ready for you. Like, oh my God. And you just get to be in their company.
And the gazebo with
yeah,
a bit of shade as well.
the shade, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, it was
Absolutely
like
brilliant.
that energy is the right way to say it, because like they're going through, like it wasn't a holiday for them one bit. Like, don't get me wrong, like those lads had it tough too. But the fact that like we were constantly getting depleted of energy, whereas they were like reasonably fresh, and they can bring that, and they almost gave that energy out to us as well. So we take it off, like we mightn't have had it, like mightn't have been chatting much, because as you get more tired, we tend to get a bit more quiet, a bit more within ourselves, and then you see your two mates and you're gonna laugh at them, and then you just open up again, and it's like that new, just a new lease of life.
Yeah,
basically.
I think you
get
touched
from
on it
them.
there, man. Humor. I know we'll probably mention a while, man, but that it was like the cornerstone of driving us the whole way there. Like just having the crack, like that phrase, having the crack. It's just that's what's kept us going the whole time.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, in them tough times where you're fucking in your head, or it's been a tough day, or your legs are like, another day, really.
Yeah, exactly, and you're laughing at yourself.
Yeah, and then you're
really.
laughing in the morning, so you're in a good humor. Like, laughter is such a medicine, man. It really is. Like, it lifts you up so much. So, and that every day when I reflect back on it, although the days were tough, what I remember from it is just the all-out crack that we had on a continuous basis.
The actual cycling of it was almost an aside to the day by day, if that makes any sense. Like in terms of reflection, like, so it was the one thing you're focusing on is, I can't believe I have to cycle.
Oh.
You're sitting on this saddle, I have to cycle, I have to keep cycling. But then peel it all back, and like Daz always brings me back to earth, because I miss it. Like I'm thinking, oh, it was such a good trip, I want to do another one. And Daz would be like, Brian, you were totally forgetting how hard the cycling was. But it's a testament to how good
The crack was.
the crack was, and the company was.
That is so true, man. That's so true, because that's the feeling I get from it as well. It's like it was an amazing time. Of course it was. What an experience. It really is like a once in a lifetime thing. Because how are you going to plan and prepare for that, to do something like that drastic again?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's like it's not like no one's cycling 2,000 kilometers. All right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
In 2 weeks. In 2 weeks is the kicker. Lads have done, like I will say, there's people out there have done longer cycles than this. But it's that 2 weeks was where, like, so we were chatting. I remember before the cycle, I was trying to reach out to as many cyclists as possible to get that insights, those kind of injections, because we didn't have much time. We need to get proper injections of knowledge here.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, oh yeah, 2,000 kilometers. Oh, I cycled across Europe or whatever. And then you say the 2 weeks thing, and then their ears prick. It's like, oh, are you sure? Yeah. You know, and then there's this like, you'll never do it. Or there's the guys that we ended up meeting. 99% of the people we did meet, they're like, here's how I can help. Here's my advice.
It was the people that had experience of it that were like, you'll be able to do it, you'll be grand. It was lads who didn't do it, like, lads, you're not going to be able to do that. But like,
there was a few, man.
There was a good number. Yeah. Doubt us now. But they were like, you're not going to be able to do it. And then your man Tully, for instance, was like, look, just treat it like a job.
Yeah.
Get up and do it. You'll be fine. And your body will be right. Like,
that's a good point, man. Like, what else did we have to do in the whole day? Like, the only thing that was asked of us in the whole day was just the cycle.
Well, yeah, it was treating it like work. And like, if you're just talking about an average day, getting up in the morning and knowing that you have that, you're staring down the barrel of 155 fucking kilometers.
It's a long fucking barrel.
It's a long barrel.
That's a long old barrel.
You just wake up and for fuck's sake.
I know, man.
But then it took a while to wake up, and then because we didn't really talk much in the mornings, it took a while to wake up, and then you get the breakfast in.
It was funny, man, because what I noticed, and I think we all picked up on it, was once again energies, and how all of our energies were different at different times of the day. So Brian was real chirpy in the morning, and you were kind of the middle day guy, were you?
He was the tower. He towed us there every day.
Oh, he got us at the end.
You bridged the gap. You bridged the gap in the middle, and then
it was so interesting, because I'd wake up in the morning, I was like, I don't want anyone to talk to me right now. I'm just like, I just need to gather my thoughts.
Get me a croissant and a coffee.
Get me a croissant and a coffee.
The bread roll in the back pocket.
Cheeky bread roll. But yeah, man, it's funny the way just how that was, and that was like a pattern for the whole
that
thing.
That was an accidental but like complete necessity of that trip, was the fact that we like harmonized is the right
say, man. It was almost in sync, wasn't it?
So harmonized is probably the right word, because it was like, you know, it couldn't have worked any other way, because like, if you were all like me, for example, we all would have crashed at 80 kilometers. What was my distance? Like 110 every single day. It was like you'd turned off a light switch on my head. I was so sick of cycling 110. I remember I didn't have my phone. Like I didn't have my phone in front of me, and I was feeling crap, and I just went to Dad. I was like, I bet you we're at 110 kilometers, because we were that used to it. We were like greyhounds. We were like, literally, this is what we do now.
This is what we do.
But that morning, the morning, I know for a fact that the reason I had energy in the morning, because I kind of naturally am more anxious than you guys, so I kind of wanted to
get going.
Yeah, exactly. I hated the idea that, because like this is an 11-hour daily commute we were doing.
Oh Jesus, yeah.
So like if we don't start at daylight, then we are in dark when we get there, and that was always in my mind every single day. And I was like, lads, come on, breakfast, up, shower, breakfast. Like I need to get out now, because otherwise I know I'm gonna have to make it up later.
That's why you earned the title El Capitano.
El Capitano.
Yeah,
keeping us going.
Tell me, lads. I know it's obviously another thing we were looking to talk about. What was the thing you learned about yourself? Because there was many parts of the trip where you're kind of caught inside your own head. Is there anything in particular from the trip that you learned about yourself? You take it away, Dad. I'll be 2 seconds.
I would say, weirdly enough, with the body, that I'd say it was maybe 10 days in, after having pain in your legs and pain in your arse. Well, the arse didn't really get better, but especially your legs. Your legs got progressively worse and worse and worse, day in, day out. Keep going. Day 8, we go to the Alps, and the legs are still burning, going up and down. And then after the Alps, when we're coming down the Aosta Valley and going through into Milan and just across northern Italy, the legs stopped hurting. It was like they were just expecting, right, we're going to do 150 kilometers today, and that's that. They'd only heard if you were climbing. Yeah. Or that's essentially it. Like, there was no power in them. They're weak, but they would just keep pushing.
Keep mounting.
Keep mounting on. Keep mounting. So that was one thing that I was a bit shocked about, that your body just, like, people just get used to stuff. If we had done a challenge for another month, if we did a month instead of 2 weeks, we would have been able to cycle for a month, I think.
Isn't it
I
funny?
genuinely do think
No,
that
you're-
if we fueled correctly, we would have been able to.
Exactly, man. It's just what you demand of yourself. Your body and mind will find a way to cope, whatever it is.
Exactly. Yeah, it was real strange that
Yeah.
we just kind of got used to it, even though it was so fucking tough. Jokes obviously were a big part of that, but
Yeah.
then obviously the physical side was big, but the mental side as well. Learning that you could just, I don't know, it was such a strange feeling. I don't know if I learned anything. It was more so,
Acknowledging.
yeah,
Something
it was strange. It was more like that perception of time that we're talking about. That I just so confusing that it was never ended in the moment, and then at the end of the day, the whole day felt like a split second,
A blip.
a blip
Yeah.
in time.
Yeah, it's funny, man. Because I suppose the only time you ever really live in is the moment. But that moment feels like it's gone on forever. Like when you're on the bike, man, and all you see is just, you're on some sort of bypass or just off a motorway, and the road is just straight. And you
Yeah.
can't even see the end of the road. And the road just keeps on going and going. You're like, I've been here like 2 hours. When does this end?
Yeah.
When does this end? It doesn't end. It just keeps going.
It's a really it's a really cool ability that we have to, and it can be very difficult. And I think we definitely honed it in, is to be able to kind of separate yourself from a task. If you know it's going to be long and you know it's going to be hard, to just allow your mind to wander. It's not a long-term thing. It doesn't last for 11 hours, but I think we got good at it. There would be times where you're just like, here, look, I'm just going to put my music in and just go off, or if I know, like, I mean, sometimes I had to think about, like, for example, the intensity of the climb. I was very much in that moment. I was thinking about, I want to get to the top, I want to climb, I want to exercise. But then on those hills, on those long roads where it was like just nothing but straight, I was in the Bahamas. I was at home. I was worrying about stuff at work.
Yeah.
I was able to just completely separate my mind from what I was doing, the task at hand.
Yeah.
And that really helps sometimes, because then, like, if you think about how, like, tired you are, you're going to feel tired, like.
Of course.
But if you're thinking about what you need to do when you get home, like, I mean, how's Rachel and the family getting on at home, then I'm not going to think about my legs. So it's just that respite you can give yourself sometimes.
That's a great point, man. Yeah, just taking your attention away from your body.
Yeah.
Just be like, I'll just cast this somewhere else for a while.
I apply it sometimes now when I'm even just like, I've started running recently again, and we did a 15k at the weekend, and I hadn't ran like that in God knows how long. And it was coming around the 10-11k mark, and I was starting to just be really, really sore, and I was able to just go, just forget about this for the moment, because I've learned that skill from the cycle. I'm able to just get, like, Brian, you've done something way longer than this. Just get your head out of this particular moment. Stop thinking about whether you're fast. Stop thinking about whether that's somebody you know up ahead. Just forget about all that stuff. Just let your body do it.
Yeah.
Put it on autopilot is probably the best thing to say. It's like you're able to actually put it into neutral and just let your body do that same progressive thing that it's been doing for the last 2 hours.
So is it you're not putting all that much thought into it anymore?
Yeah.
It's just going to happen.
Exactly. Just let it, it was weird because it specifically fits to a long distance endurance thing.
Yeah.
You can't apply it, like, some people go on autopilot when they're playing football, and you can tell, and you're just like, you need to be focusing.
Yeah, you need to be in the game.
That's different. Obviously, it doesn't apply to everything. But in terms of these sort of long challenges where you spend a lot of time in your head, it's a very important and probably crucial skill to be able to get yourself out of that head.
Disassociate a small bit.
Exactly, because otherwise you're just going to sit in your own mind and give out yourself for being slow, not doing something right. Like, I get that bad sometimes in the cycle where I was like, oh, you haven't eaten properly. Oh, you're not feeling right because you haven't done this. Or that's why you should have gone to bed earlier last night. That sort of thought comes into your head. It's all just nonsense. It's all just noise. But yeah, I think that's what you're sort of alluding to, is your ability to sort of just, like, perceive time a little bit differently.
See,
and
I
let your body
struggled
do
with
it, like.
what you're saying. I struggled to do that. I felt I was in the moment too much.
Really,
That's why
all
it
the
felt
time?
so long. That's why I was struggling. Like, sometimes the music would help.
Yeah.
Stick the music on.
The music.
Stick the music
Nice
on.
little distraction.
Throw them in. But a lot of the time, I couldn't take myself out of it, which made
Because
it.
you were feeling so much. Because your legs were like, you could feel.
I think it was just kind of just this constant, like, pain.
Yeah.
Now the pain went away in the legs further on, but it was more so the mental aspect of the time.
Yeah.
The time we spent, like, looking at your arse, or like just putting one leg in front of the other, keep going and keep going. It was relentless.
I think
It was relentless.
what might be an interesting.
It was
Can't believe it.
I'm not saying it's the reason, because anyway, only you know. But I think it could have been something to relate it to the fact that, like, I probably liked cycling the most. I think that was probably fair.
I think Dara's just a bit pussy.
No, but you know what I mean. You guys, like the two of you guys, like I know you guys didn't particularly like cycling. Come the end of it, it was one of those things where we got ourselves. It was more the challenge that really built ourselves up to it. So like, all you guys are thinking, it's like doing a chore. It's very hard for you to do a chore and be able to go and get away a chore. You're thinking, I hate this. It's a fucking go on, get the dishes out of the way, or whatever. But when you do something you love, time flies by.
Yeah, it's true.
Now, again, I didn't love cycling either. Like, it was very tedious.
And even if you did love something, imagine doing it for 11 hours a day.
Yeah.
You'd almost get a bit... You'd be like, another 11 hours of this.
Yeah.
But there is great strength, just to touch on that point, like there's great strength in that voluntary suffering. Because that's what's going on.
Time, yeah.
And that's probably why you felt in the moment the whole time, because of that pain.
Yeah.
You're constantly feeling the pain in your legs. It's going nowhere. Because you got another 60k to do to finish off the day.
Exactly, yeah. And you've already done 4 hours. You have another 3.5 to go.
The thing that helped me with time in regards to the cycle was the way we broke up the days. I thought really helped us. Like, we'd obviously start off, then we meet the lads in the round just over the halfway mark. And then you're like, I've less to do in the second half of the day. And we kind of split it up and having breaks in between. Because something that big, because that's a massive goal. Like, think 15 days is a huge goal. And then break it down day by day. And then break it down into the day. And we kind of split it into different parts, which really helped me anyway. Because I just get to lunch.
Same.
Just get to lunch. Then you refuel. And you're like, have a bit more energy. But then day 4 or 5, you're like, fuck. I was like, let's go do this again. You know what I mean? And just continue it on. And the one thing I picked up on from the trip, I think it was day 3 when I was like, oh, jeez, I'd love to just go home now. I honestly was like in my head, because it was such a rough day being out in, I don't know what part of France we in day 3?
Day 3, that was when we went to Orléans.
Orléans was the end, yeah.
We got there at the end, remember? We got to the city, there's
so
a
much
bit of
energy
buzz about it, yeah.
That's crazy. But I remember just thinking, that was the day we went past the windmills, wasn't it?
The windmill day.
The windmill day. That was forever ending. That was... Because we weren't used to the trip just then. It was everything was so fresh. So we're trying to like conceptualize like how long is a day, how does it actually feel. It was so difficult.
That was the first time we ever cycled 3 days in a row.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah,
for context of all of how
very significant day. Very significant day. But I just remember I got so annoyed that I had to keep cycling. And I had my earphones in, and I just remember, I don't actually remember, the only reason why it dawned on me is because Brian said it to me after. He goes, you were cursing the whole time, like you were annoyed at yourself. And I just had this anger come over me. I was like, I have another 40k to go to even get to this place. And the emotion of anger basically took over me. I was only annoyed because I had to keep on going. But it also gave me energy, ironically. So it was just this weird kind of loop where I was getting annoyed. I was like tired. I was pissed off. I was like, another 40k. But then I had this literally anger come over me, which would drive me on home. So it was just this weird kind of paradox that happened.
Yeah.
And it just kind of dawned on me, like, anger does have some sort of utility if it can be used right, not against anyone else, but when you use it for yourself to kind of move you forward, whatever it might be, like getting maybe pissed off about yourself, so you get you motivated to keep on acting and keep on moving forward.
Yeah, it's a motivator. That's exactly what it is. You can either motivate yourself positively to and aspire to do something, and you're like, I want to get to like my perfect physical being, my destination, the burger later on after you do a cycle or whatever it may be. You can inspire yourself that way, or you can go ahead and you can look at yourself and get critical. And I think that's probably where you were going. You were getting critical of yourself rather than angry, because you're frustrated, but you're criticizing yourself and being like, I need to be quicker here. I need to be fitter.
I was just pissed off, man. I was just fucking pissed off. I was like, are you serious? Another 40k?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
That's 2 hours.
It's long.
Yeah.
It goes on for ages.
It was never ending.
Never ending.
Yeah, 40k being 2 hours. That's like 40k in a car. You're thinking we'll be there in an hour, like less, way less. Yeah. But on that bike, that takes a long time.
Different story.
It was hard not to get bogged down knowing the distance ahead of you. And the way you're talking there, splitting the day helped so much.
Yeah, it definitely did.
Splitting the half day into halves as well, and our little breaks where we'd go for a piss or we'd just stop and get a bit of grub.
And I think even, man, goals should be breaking, because we had one ginormous goal, get to Croatia. But when you break it down into smaller steps over the course of time, you can see the pattern or the plan and how we're going to get there. This goes for anyone in life, especially coming in 2024. Everyone wants new year, new me.
Yeah.
All right.
Bite-sized chunks.
How did you break it down? How did you day by day get there? And just same thing that we done. Bronna, did you mention what you learned on the trip? Was there anything in particular that?
I suppose my thing with the trip, I probably learned. So I was quite always quite confident, and the reason we came up with the idea, like I'm always quite confident that you can do anything if you apply your mind to it. Like it's one of those things where like you just want to do something, go start it, you will get there.
It's cliche, but
it's cliche,
it's
but
actually just so true.
Man,
like if you focus in on something, you're only going to get better at it.
This particular thing is the most perfect example. It was the biggest stacking of odds against 3 lads ever, in the sense that we just picked something we had nothing to do with and then set a goal that nobody in that sport was going to be able to just go, yeah, I could do that. They all are fearful, and then we were like, yeah, let's do it. And I kind of always knew that about myself, but the one thing I learned from the trip was specifically is there is a limit to the quantity, and I definitely experienced like a lot of sort of burnout through a lot of last year and leading up to this, and I was like, because I apply myself in loads of different ways, and this cycle was very exciting to do. But I'm also trying, like I have a business, well, I started another business with Rachel last year and stuff, and it's like, yes, okay, apply yourself to anything, but try not to apply yourself to everything at once was probably my biggest learning of last year, and it's something I'm trying to implement now this year going forward, is like, because I can be a bit of a magpie. When I see something, I'm like, I'd love to do that, or or if I see somebody and I talk to somebody and meet them and they're like, oh, this is what I'm into, I would be very much like, I'll help you with that, or I'll, like I can get like that. I know that about myself, but now this year I'm gonna be like, well, hang on, just try to prioritize yourself in a way that makes you come home in the evening and have a bit of time for yourself. Don't, because there was like pretty much all last year I came home and I thought, do I need to make a reel for the cycle? Did I go out for my cycle this week? Did I hit my 150 kilometer target or whatever? Is Jamesy cycling? Does he have his bike? Is Daz
Probably not.
Probably not. Is that like I was basically had too much going on, and when I was on that cycle, I was like, right, thank God this is all I have to do now. But when I get home, I'm going to make sure that I have more time for myself and I don't just pick up a new thing. And that was like, because remember we used to chat like it was almost like a daily thing to ask, like, oh, what are you gonna do when you get home, or like, what are you gonna change?
It was like we're in a war and we're like, we're gonna get home soon. We're gonna get home soon. What are you gonna do? It's like, I'm gonna kiss my wife when I get home.
That's so
it's
true,
like,
man.
We're gonna have so much time. What are you gonna do with it? Because that was another never-ending aspect of it. Was like you said, reels and training. Our weeks and weekends are taken up for that. So then you do the challenge, you get home, and you've all your evenings open. You don't need to go on any fucking reels around. You can just do whatever you want to do. And then those conversations we're having, what are you going to do? It's like, what are you going to do? It's like, oh, I want to do this, want to do that. And we're all buzzing about it. We're on like day 11. We're like, we're going to have so much time when we get back.
It's crazy. Do you still have that appreciation for time post-cycle? Or is that kind of worn off? Or do you still have it at the moment?
Yeah, I love it. It's I signed up to like a few things since, and I don't know, I want to just... I think it's because of the lead up to the cycle that I was getting so pissed off that all of our time was taken up, that now I want to be on my own schedule.
Freedom.
Yeah, exactly. Which it feels really nice. Hopefully that wears off, because like I just want to do my own thing every day. Do you know what I mean? But like, it's good to have a routine in a way.
Oh, it is. But not to be tied to them too much.
Exactly. Yeah.
And like, I'm just trying to, like, with that time, what I'm trying to specifically do is like me personally is try to prioritize kind of taking like a thing that's just fun and just joy, and just try to do something that is just something that I want to do. Whereas like the cycle was a challenge that we had to do. Like we loved it, and it was really, I'm so proud of it. Like honestly, it's one of the proudest things I've ever done is what we did. But at the same time, it became work, and we took it as work and took it as a job, and then enjoyed it along the way. But now I'm just like, I need to, with my time that I have free, I need to make sure it's almost like a little checklist. Is that a job? Like, is that a task? Is that a project? Like, just do something for you for an hour, Brian. You know what I mean?
Now Brian just loves his county.
He loves his county. He loves his county.
Yeah, exactly.
Back playing county. Or back playing club, anyway.
Yes.
But,
don't know about playing, but...
Not just, it's coming. Yeah, but, I don't know if there's anything else to add to that, Daz?
Anything else?
Anything else you learned?
The fact that the three of us, because we went through it together, it definitely creates a bond. That it's like people going through struggle together definitely makes you closer to them, because you've both experienced something that you didn't want to. But it's something weird, isn't it? It's like because that person experienced the same bad thing as me, we now
can relate to each other.
Exactly, yeah.
On a much deeper level as well. I think men especially need that. Like, how can you, like, imagine we went and we just on a short cycle, it was all fun and games. There's nothing really to reflect on. But when there's real struggle and there's a bit of depth to it, it's like, we were in this together.
Exactly, yeah.
We were in the depths.
And it shows, like, if one of us lost a head or completely ruined the trip by giving up or whatever, do you know what I mean? It just kind of, it just shows you for who you are, do you know what I mean? Whereas, like, we're lucky in the sense that the three of us actually got on quite well, but when we kind of tackled it together, do you know what I mean? And it's that kind of respect for other people that tackled the same thing as you did.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Do you know what I mean?
No, that's a very good point, man. And there was times, bro, like, I remember I think it was the third day is when it was the night after we seen the Milky Way.
Ah, yes.
Where were we going that day? Where were we going that morning? Where did we head towards?
That was the Milky Way night was the Sheila Shirley night.
And where we were going towards?
And we were going to, that was the Wimbledon day the next day.
Day 3 was a massive day for you, James.
Yeah.
Was that? I thought that was after.
After Sheila, we went to Orleans.
Oh, okay. Oh, that's right. Yeah, because that was out in the countryside.
That's
but
patrol.
Put that to one side. Yeah, I just remember that morning. I remember getting up and I remember saying to Dad, we were in the same room. I was like, yeah, man, we could take breaks, you know. We could do like we could do like 50k, and then one of us just hops in the van, and you're just like, no. And I was like, fuck, I have to fucking go do this again. And you kind of do need each other. Like, you need people around you. But like, you can't do that because there's times where you get tired and you slack off. And when you slack off and you're tired, you're not the same person. So you want to take an easier route, whatever you're doing. And I just remember waking up that morning going, oh, I just could not be bothered to do this again.
Yeah. And
then at that stage, you came in and was like, no, we have to do it. And I was like, fuck you, you're actually right, you know what I mean?
Fuck off, right?
I was like, and then look, we find a way to do it, but this is why it's so encouraging, why having people around you as well. Because without knowing it, you would have inspired me during the trip, because I was definitely always behind, I was slugging along. But I always just see in the distance, you two lads ahead of me, I was like, I have to catch up with them.
Yeah.
And I have to keep on going. And it's just the importance of pushing each other forward. Lead by example. It definitely comes into play.
Yeah, I think what's the kind of the bond sort of brings. I like the word brother, and like sort of with something like this, and I think soldiers always call each other brothers and stuff as well, and brotherhood and stuff, is because, like, I mean, like friends tend to like spending time with each other, and they like the positive aspects of each other. Whereas brothers, I think, can like point out what they think needs to be said, and they always have their best interests. Like the other people, the brothers, the best interest at heart, but have absolutely no problem of having a falling out with each other. Have no problem of saying something that's going to get on each other's nerves, and that's what's a key to a brother, I think, is because they want like. They want the best for you, and they have absolutely no problem because they know you're related. You're family.
Yeah.
Like there's even if you have it. Even if you have a scrap for like you are gonna make up your blood. Like and I think that was probably like, I mean, I know for a fact there's a good few occasions on that trip where I wasn't friendly to you guys. Like I know I wasn't friendly. Like I wasn't necessarily harsh. I wasn't just like, you know, being a sap.
You're a big prick, Brian.
Exactly. Like, but like, I mean, you know what I mean? You,
no
like,
fucking mindset.
But like friends wouldn't have got us through some of those hard times.
Yeah,
it was a case of like, I'd be like, I was using my, let's say if I'm feeling good, I'm going to be like, here, lads, come on, fuck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I needed you guys to be able to say, like, I mean, him on the way into Leon, do you remember him as Leon? He just man possessed for whatever reason, 130 kilometers. He just went.
Lebash.
Like, absolutely no regard for us. He was just gone. And I needed that because, like, oh, fucking better keep up with Dara here, you know, that sort of thing.
That's a good example. And I like what you said there, Bruno. Like being brutally honest with each other. Because there's times you need that. Yeah. You don't need, especially men, don't need to be mollycoddled. You need straight honesty to get you moving forward. And there's definitely many times during that trip where I needed it, especially in the mornings.
Oh, in the mornings it was tough.
I needed that boost.
The mornings are tough. Getting up and seeing that down it was hard.
You're like, I have a whole day ahead of me.
Yeah. And you can't get away from it.
No. The best thing you can do is just face straight into it and just get marching forward.
Yeah, and I think
once you got the kilometers going, though, it felt a lot better. When you're stopped in the morning, you're like getting the bottles ready and having breakfast and all, because you weren't making any progress. It felt like the day was running away from us. But as soon as we got on, we got 10 kilometers down. I was like, all right, let's go.
We're in action.
Yeah, it was weird.
Let's go.
It was weird. Like before. So when I was leading up to this, all I could think of is, do I have enough in the tank? As if this challenge was going to be 15 days of depletion. Like, as in, like, you know, every single day is going to be harder, compound interest on top of that. But what actually happened was, as we grew in experience with how to do something like this, we became C2C experts, effectively.
Yeah.
And then
you knew,
like, you know, oh Jesus, well, okay, nothing, like, day 3 was hard, but we did it.
Yeah.
Day 4 was hard, but we did it. So it's like, I think what you, at the first, let's say 4 or 5 days, what killed me the most and made me not want to get going the most was thinking, what could happen next? Like, are we going to be able for it? But then I think what a key part of the whole trip was, and you're talking about breaking it up into parts, like we had the 3 days in the Alps coined from the get-go as the hardest thing we're ever going to do, ever. And if we get over that, if we can do that, plain sailing. And that's, it wasn't plain sailing, but it felt, you can get, like the last 5 days were so much easier than the first 5 days. Me personally, you know, because of the way our mentality grew, we became fortified by the fact of our experience. We became fortified by our experience, and then just knew we're the only people that could do this because we have done it, rather than worried about what the hell is next.
Yeah, it's a good point, man. Because you're dead right, man. As soon as we'll mention the Alps now in a sec, but as soon as we got over that hurdle, it's like Croatia. Come on.
Kind of, yeah.
Yeah, that's
without no arrogance whatsoever. But it was just, you can only, when you have the experience.
Yeah.
When you, like, I mean, you know, when somebody, you walk into a job and it's like, this is what I do every single day. You know what you're gonna do.
Cycle to Croatia. Come on.
No.
That's what we do.
Whereas when you go in your first day, when you first start a job, and you like, it's a new job. You can't even make a cup of tea. You're there nervous and about everything you do. Yeah, you know. So, that's what I thought. I thought breaking that up halfway point, getting over the Alps, nothing could stop us then.
Yeah, constant reps, exposure, and experience. It's great. It's a great little tonic for a bit of confidence.
That right, James?
Had to be said, that. Had to be said. Let's talk about the Alps, boys, because that was definitely the peak of the trip.
The Alps, the big boys.
The big boys.
They don't mess around.
We did get separated.
We did get separated, yeah.
What was the peak run up? How high up in the sky is the Alps?
Yeah, so we went through, so you can go through the Alps, and Alps is huge. Alps took us, we were 3 days in the Alps. It's not like it was just one mountain, right? But the peak we went to was 2,200 meters up. And we started at 400 meters, for context. So that was an 1,800 meter climb.
That was a joke.
And we decided to go through, well, Ross decided, really, thanks Ross. We went through Le Thuil and up Sayez and stuff, through a path, what's called the Petit Saint Bernard, right? So there's a Saint Bernard pass, and then there's the called the Petit Saint Bernard. And I don't know why, I think it's called Petit because it's not as steep, but it's one of the longest climbs you can do. It's 24 kilometers of an incline. Whereas some of them you go up for maybe like 16 kilometers and it's really steep. Ours was 24 kilometers of climbing. So it's a long time to be climbing. And the top of it was 2,200 meters up, freezing, 2 degrees.
You want to let the people know who won the race?
This guy.
El Capitano.
It was not that it was a race in any case.
It was a race.
I'm pretty sure at the very start we knew what order we're going to finish in. Like 10 minutes in, I was way behind, and you were kind of falling a tad bit behind Brian. And then you were out of sight. I was on my own.
Yeah.
Ross
I
would
made a
visit.
friend.
Ross would visit with the motorbike every now and then.
Yeah. Oh, that was so handy.
That was brilliant.
Keep the head up, like.
Yeah. I actually enjoyed that climb. How long did that go on for? Like an hour or more?
Oh, way more. It was 24 kilometers of climbing.
I just like the push of it, because you know sometimes when you're gone on a flat road, it's just continuous. That push, you just keep on grinding.
That suited you, yeah.
Yeah, I hated it once we turned and that wind was blasting us out. The ice cold wind.
That's different.
Because I thought we were done because we're in that village.
Yeah.
Then there's another more climb to go, and the wind was pushing. There's no more power in your legs.
That was serious, man.
That was the north wind.
Toughest thing I've ever done.
I remember that so well. Now. It almost felt a bit kind of not life, exaggerating a small bit, but life and death. You know, if I stop here, I'm gonna go fucking backwards.
Yeah, the wind was that strong.
It was so strong, and it was freezing cold, and you're in like the lowest gear possibly. You weren't even moving all that much.
Exposed to the elements completely.
Yeah.
And we're in Lycra, like it's not like we were like
if you sweating, so there's cold Lycra on us because
if you stopped, like you would have had a big problem on your hands. Like you would have been there with clips on, no real food, no clothes,
and
no
there was a massive edge as well. And it was the other side. I think it was the other side of the road, but it was like fucking dropping like.
Yeah.
You weren't coming back.
Yeah. But you're so vulnerable in that time, aren't you?
There's something about that, man. I don't know, I've seen someone on TV, but just being out in the elements of things. Like being out in the snow, well, obviously we weren't in snow, but it's freezing cold. You're at the top of the Alps or approaching the top of the Alps. It's just like, it makes you feel really alive. And it's all about survival in that moment. Because what else is really happening? All you're thinking about is in the moment, can I get through this? And we got through.
Yeah,
somehow. Yeah.
that was like that was game day. That was game day for me for whatever reason. I think that, and it was probably again my worry about like, are we gonna make it the whole time? And it was like everything we spoke about leading up to that was that Alps. Like it was the one big unknown. Like the biggest thing we climbed was Glendalough. We did the Wicklow Way, which is like it was like a 500-meter climb.
That was tough.
And it is tough. It is because it's really steep. But that's the difference. It's a 500-meter
the
flight.
Alps, though.
But it's nowhere near the same. It's bloody quarter of the way up, like.
Mad.
But then once I figured, like, I was just like, let's give this absolute maximum effort right now. Let's put everything I can into this climb, and then it's like it was like if I my mentality anyway was like, if I can get up there, that means we've done it. I even though, like, of course there was a whole other half of the trip to go, if we got over that fucking mountain, like, we're done.
Yeah.
You know, in that way. Because it was just it was the last unknown in my head. It was like, can we do the Alps? Yes, we can.
And the rest.
Check that off.
Check that off the list.
It was checked off, and then for good measure, we had accommodation. That we went down the other side of the Alps, and then the accommodation was another 600 meter climb, which was fucking harder than the Alps.
Yeah, it was.
Because we had the Alps under our fucking belts trying to do that thing.
That was so difficult.
That was 8 hours.
Pissed off. I was in a fell humor again.
There's one thing I realised as well with all the cycling, like going up a hill is so difficult. So getting to the top is really difficult, but you can fall off and you can come down a hill so quickly.
Yeah.
The struggle to the top is really difficult.
Never appreciated how tough it is to go up a hill.
Yeah.
Never appreciated it at all.
It's crazy, man.
So
we had that thing in France where we went over, I'd say 12 consecutive hills. We just went over one, come back down, over one, come back down. It's just a continuous flow of hills. When I reflect on that now, I was like, I actually enjoyed that.
You see, you didn't.
I didn't enjoy it.
You just romanticized it.
I actually enjoyed how tough it was. I was like, this is hard, but I'm getting some sort of satisfaction out how difficult it was.
Yeah.
Although I was like, in a moment, I was like, fucking, that was difficult. But like, I remember bits and pieces of like, someone would be struggling up a hill, and then you see him, he's like, yeah, I'll just fucking overlap.
I'll go,
I'll get past him. And then the next time you're doing it, someone gets past you and just gives you a bit of an edge to keep on pushing on.
We needed some
like
level.
Mini games.
Mini games,
yeah.
Exactly. You needed some level of competitiveness to just keep it interesting, even like just because we seek that out. I think we seek that out naturally, but because we're competitive guys, we just naturally want to be like pushing each other to the limits, kind of.
So healthy as well.
And that, like, I mean, there's only so long that you can just go at a slow, stagnant pace. Sometimes you just get this burst of like we've had a Red Bull, or you have the food.
Go nuclear.
Yeah,
Nuclear,
that bit of energy is coming through your belly, and you just want to get rid of it. And you're just going to fire up a hill, and then it catches you later. And you're like, why did I do that?
It does feel good overtaking one of the boys.
It does.
Say it now. Don't know if you did much of that on the trip.
You got it one or two times. But was there anything else to add with the Alps? Wasn't anticlimactical at all, wasn't it? Getting to the top of the Alps.
I think I was just more
relieved,
yeah, that I done it, because when that wind hit, I was in bits now. But when we got there, I saw the boys, and I think it was deadly. It was good for the head that the fact it was a different country. Then it was the border between France and Italy. So once it got on that peak and everything going down, it was in Italy. So everything was new. I was speaking Italian. There's espressos going everywhere. The food. I hate to say it, fucking exponentially got better.
That's true, man. We didn't get
pizzas, few pastas. You know what I mean?
We had no joy in France with the food.
Or finding people, civilization
at all.
Yeah,
we went
strange, so strange.
France is shut down in the middle of summer. Well, shut down for us anyway. I think it's shut down everywhere.
So then, having the Alps on your belt, having a new country and culture, and it was sunny after those days. Well, you're going through the valley and it was downhill as well. Thankfully, we got all the uphills, and we had 2 or 3 days, maybe 2 days of steady downhill, and there's a wind behind us as well. It was absolute bliss.
And it's so beautiful, man. Like that
Aosta Valley.
Yeah, that's incredible, man.
It was unbelievable. So that was almost like a gift, wasn't it?
It makes everything go a bit easier when everything around you is so beautiful.
But it was real dull at the Alps, because obviously we're in a cloud, so it was all
freezing, man. We were like 40 layers on as well.
It was so cold.
It's like 2 degrees when we got up the top, and then you're going down with the wind. What I don't know. Down the hill, I was probably doing 40 kilometers an hour or something like that. So the 40-kilometer wind going into your face, freezing. We have the video of me. I'm wrapped up like you had all the Eata's gear and all that. But yeah, and then to do it all again, then just before the accommodation was cruel. But yeah, again, look, we did it, and that was the last sort of.
I'd say just another good thing with the Alps was the fact that it was Tour de France route as well. So there's
Very
little
cool.
there's little Tour de France posters, which I thought was class.
That was very
show,
cool. Yeah, I got one of I brought back the little altitude thing
Oh,
because
yeah.
you follow when you cycle up. You basically have the only thing to keep you sane is that there's these little pegs that say how far you are to the top the whole time. So you're counting it down is 13k, 12k, to 11k, whatever.
They're never gonna know now, bro.
Huh?
They're never gonna know what they're on or how long's left.
No, I bought one.
he
It
didn't-
was-
he didn't-
I didn't
he
just
didn't
take
make a
one.
Oh,
peg.
sorry, okay.
That wouldn't be like me.
No,
anyway.
not at all.
no.
Yeah, look, we touched on humor as well. I think that was obviously a key.
Oh, backbone.
It kept us going the whole time, man. There
Yeah.
was so much, like, I think that's why we have such fond memories of it when you
Yeah.
think about the humor of the trip, because it was the crack was 90 high.
The pack was 90.
Look,
look,
just the importance of humor. Like, we'll just touch on that for a sec, because I think, like you said, it was the backbone of the trip.
Yeah, 100%. It was recognizing that we're in the shit situation that we're staring down. Like, let's just say we've done 40 kilometers with 2 hours on the bike, 2 fucking hours on the bike,
Yeah.
and we've another 6 hours to go, or 5.5. We've stopped. We're just eating a bit of grub on the side of the road. To try to keep morale up at that stage is so fucking difficult. But you'd be slagging each other, or you'd be quoting Gary Neville or Anchorman or something.
Yeah,
You'd be quoting all these stupid things, all these videos that are just in our head bouncing around all the time, and we'd just be
It's
shouting
so
out
fun
these
when
stupid
you
quotes.
repeat them like 100 times a day, and they would never get any less funnier. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They'd almost they keep the humor going, and
They
it's just
would.
I love it, man. I'm still saying them today as well.
Exactly, and I think it's just it takes no mental strength to think they're there ready to go. You know what I mean?
That's so
So
funny.
you can
to see,
just
you don't-
throw one out there, like, see if any.
and
see if
someone
it
would
sticks.
catch you, and then it just leads to something else.
Yeah.
And before you know it, everyone's laughing.
So I would go like, I'd shout, it was the banker, and you hear behind me, it was the no-brainer. Just
The one that
stupid.
never fails.
The one that never fails.
Yeah.
Just stupid
It was
stuff
a
like that.
constant to rely on, wasn't it?
Yeah,
it was like-
it was.
You kind of, I don't know, like we were kind of, probably, and Irish people are deadly for it because you're usually brought up in kind of busy enough households or families or mates or whatever, and you kind of just, well, at least me, I know my family, we hate like silences. Like, just silences have to be filled. They're there to be filled.
Yeah.
Even if it's just something as stupid as saying like your best player thinks he's a pirate or whatever. Like, just, and then it brings in the dodgeball, and you're talking about the movie, and then it's just to keep you ticking over, because we needed each other. We needed to get each other out of our own heads as much as we need to do it ourselves. And the
Yeah.
best way to do it is just to have a laugh with somebody.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know the neuroscience, don't know the head, like the sort of the chemicals that go through your head,
Man.
but
Laughing.
it has to be a good thing to get a laugh out of somebody in terms of getting them past something. Otherwise, what would we talk about? Like, Jesus, your arse and bits, yeah, my arse.
And you're
How-
so serious, and it'd all be fucking drab and like going on about it, where you can
Yeah.
just take the piss.
Because there's such playfulness. in
Take
it.
the piss.
Yeah.
Stop taking yourself so seriously for a second. Do you know what I mean? And just fucking slag each other.
Yeah.
As well as movie quotes, obviously. We have a
A
roast
lot
here
of
and
movie
there.
quotes. Any favourites written down there in that list?
There's too many quotes, James.
If there was
They're all
one,
Gary Neville or
If there was-
fucking
if there
Andy
was
Pay. I don't know. Probably fucking hell, man. I'm finished.
we'll have to cut that out.
And it was a good
Ian
way.
started chuckling away.
Yeah, but this is it. That's what I was going to bring in. Like, so it was a good way as well to, so like, we have to mention as well, like, we didn't know Ross like up until like a few months before this trip at all, and it was a great way. The fact that we can just have a laugh, and he was up for getting in on that and stuff, like,
Yeah.
it made the group dynamic really, really good. If that wasn't happening, it would have actually kind of been kind of fatal for the trip in a different way.
Yeah.
You know, because like, the way that he was able to just pick it up and have a laugh, and then himself and Eno obviously spend, like, as much as we were doing something for 11 hours, the two boys are sitting in the van for 11 hours. You know what I mean? Like, so they have to have a bit of crack somewhere. Like,
And now, as a result, Ross says, Jesus.
2 glasses of milk, please.
So is
Yeah.
now Oscar.
But
a lot of memes in there. A lot of
A lot of memes, a lot of funny videos. It just really stupid stuff, but it just gets you to giggle.
yeah.
And then
And
you're
once-
good to go.
Exactly, yeah, and you kind of forget about suffering for a
That
second.
is
or
a
two.
great thing, man. Laughter is it's a medicine. It really is. Is there anything else you'd like to mention before we wrap things up? Anything written down, Daz, or anything, you know, any days in particular
Any days in
that
particular.
kind of stick out in your mind?
I have to say, probably the most beautiful part of the trip was in that place called Chambéry.
Definitely.
We just got past. It was just before the Alps, and I think that was probably my most beautiful moment of the trip. It was really, really nice. The sun was beaming down. Had this lovely lake nicer than Lake Garda.
Yeah.
And we thought Lake Garda was going to be the
one.
the one, but it wasn't. And that, I think, just if we're just reminiscent, that I think that was the most beautiful part of the trip. And we got a cycling tunnel as well beforehand. We nearly got minced by a few cars in a tunnel, but we went through a cycling tunnel.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
Thought they were Hammers fans.
People driving past beating the horse like this. It's like, what?
We thought about.
Man,
They're not playing today.
Antonio going past us.
Antonio, and then we find that cycling tunnel, and then we go through this dark tunnel, and we just open up onto this unbelievable lake, go downhill as well. Thank fuck.
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite part of the trip. I think.
Yeah, it actually can't go. Sometimes I forget, like, some parts of it were so dangerous as well in terms of the interactions that you get with traffic as a cyclist, and that was one thing, like, we didn't probably. I know I have a much better appreciation of it now as a driver. Yeah. It's just like that guy's nervous. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, traffic's flying past him on a main road and stuff. It's obviously grand when there's a greenway and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, like, I mean, we were cycling down tunnels, and like, I remember we started going on the national roads. In Italy.
Jesus Christ.
In Italy, and we had to start just kind of, balls and up. Because up until then, we were constantly looking for sort of cycling routes and stuff, and then it kept leading us astray, and I think we did like 10% longer on the first half of the trip, thanks to El Navigator here.
Shout out Google Maps.
Google Maps. Pointing us down fucking fields. Get up.
Then we started going to national roads, and I remember I had that nervousness of where like, right, I'm on the equivalent of the N11 here, except there's 4 lanes of traffic, and they're absolutely flying around the place. And the signage was very hit and miss as well. Like, sometimes, like, a road can go from kind of like the M50 goes into the N11 or whatever. You can be on a road that was totally safe for a cyclist, and without any change, it becomes a motorway. Yeah. And we don't speak the language. We're not even familiar with this place. Everywhere we went, by the way, was new. We didn't go to a single place that any of us had ever been before. Yeah. By the way.
Yeah.
So, like, it's not like we went, I know these roads. No. So, like,
we're on the opposite side of the road as well.
Opposite side of the road
as well.
It was chaos. And so much of that trip was actual, like, survival mode as well. And then the tunnels, a lot of the route through the Alps is all tunnel based, obviously, so you can't keep going over on top of them. So we'd be turning our lights on and just hoping you know what I mean, hoping that traffic is conscientious of us, basically, and there's not a dick.
Huge trucks flying by, like.
Yeah, was it James Bond tunnel as well?
There was a few James Bond tunnels.
Yeah, with the helicopter. Yeah,
but they felt safe enough because they're lit from the side.
That's right.
It was the dark ones.
Going through these dark tunnels that are like 700 meters long or 500 meters long.
You're hoping the back lights are on.
Exactly. Yeah.
It was mad. And I suppose then, what was the ending like when we finally got to Croatia?
The ending. So the last day was the hardest day.
Went to 3 countries as well.
We went through Italy, Slovenia, and Croatia, which was class. We booked an Airbnb so we could chill out afterwards on the top of a mountain, obviously. So we had to do another we did 1,800 meters in the last day.
It's a massive oversight.
That was a heavy day, man.
130 kilometers.
The hardest day, I think. That was an massive oversight on our part.
It was a joke.
We did just as much climbing as we did the Alps day, I think.
Basically. And longer, twice as long.
128 kilometers.
What the fuck?
Like, what were we thinking?
It's a joke.
What was it, Slovenia or Slovakia we went through? Slovenia.
It was Slovenia.
Slovenia.
And then, and that was the one day we actually got caught in the dark as well, because we we're so excited at the border. We're getting pictures and stuff, and we were taking a few more breaks as we needed them as well. So it took longer. When we got there, it was. I think again it was just relief. I didn't get that melancholic feeling we got in the triathlon. It was more so.
I'm glad it's finished.
Yeah, it was more so just. I just need a rest. Do you know what I mean? Get a bottle of beer.
Actually, because we went through that lovely city in Italy, Trieste.
Trieste. Yeah, that was class.
That was a beautiful place, man.
I would actually love to visit that place. What a unique sort of layout. Like, you would just be coming through now. Crap for cyclists, because you'd come around the corner and all of a sudden you have the steepest hill you've ever seen in a city, and you have to kind of get up from a flat gear, kind of high gear, and all of a sudden you have this impossible hill. But gorgeous. And then the kind of it hugs the coastline. You come across sort of Venice up into Trieste, and then you got to kind of come down and almost look at where you come from. So you go back in yourself in terms of the globe, I guess.
Slovenia was nice as well. It was kind of brief.
So it was brief. To me, Slovenia is just a big hill.
Do you remember that hill? Oh my god! Do you remember we had our last lunch and then we had that hill, and it was like 17%.
Disgusting.
I thought I'd never get up that hill.
Absolutely disgusting.
Yeah, it's
That was tough.
It was honestly, it was. If you leaned a bit back, we would have fallen off our bikes. It
was like doing a wheelie.
Yeah. It was unbelievable.
It was so steep.
And the lowest gear, it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough.
I've got nothing.
I've got nothing left.
Yeah, and then obviously we're arriving in Croatia, making it past the border. It's like all of a sudden it's just here.
Yeah,
That was incredible.
that was class. Yeah,
Yeah, it's in one of my 3 best moments, I think.
we made it, Genji.
Because you knew, the only thing with that was you knew it was going to come, and I was always constantly worried about that melancholy feeling because we had experienced it before, and I was like, surely we're not going to get it. It's going to feel amazing, but try not to build it up too much in my head. And then we got surprised by it.
Yeah, it came out of nowhere.
We didn't know it was there. It was 40 kilometers away from our accommodation. Yeah, you cycle through, and it was like it was abandoned. Like there's nobody at this outpost, but you just cycle through, and I couldn't believe my eyes. I'm like, that's the Croatian flag. We're at the border here.
We have made it to Croatia. Well, what is Croatia in the Croatian language?
Varska.
Varska.
Something like that, isn't it? Varska? It's H.
Hrvatska.
Hrvatska.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
In any case, it was written above the thing. There's no two ways about it. That's a border,
Yeah.
and
we
It's
cycle to Croatia.
Exactly.
the rest of it was on cruise control. Then that was the victory lap. It was a
Beautiful
which was a fucking tough victory lap, at least.
40k, wasn't it?
40k,
Up and down hills as well.
40k and 900-meter climb or something like that.
But it was surreal. It was surreal when we got there.
Yeah, it is crazy. When
And
you
waking
think
up the
about it.
next day, you're like, that's the first morning in 2 weeks that you didn't have to
I was a bit set down.
stare down the barrel.
Stare down that barrel.
It was weird. Actually, I don't know whether it was the first night or second night, but I think it might have been the second night. I had a nightmare during the night that I had to go and do more. Like it was honestly
that is a nightmare.
yeah. Like I had it in, and it took me a while actually when we came back to settle back into a normality as well. So like we obviously had a few days, and that felt like a holiday. And then, but when we came back, because I drove home with Ross, so I didn't get back to Ireland for probably about 6 days after we finished or something like that.
Yeah.
But I was still waking up and like itching, like what do we do? And then I was going into work, and I was just like, like there's not enough going on
Your
here.
body's
for me.
ready
Like,
to go.
yeah, and it took me ages to settle, and I kept wanting to, like Rachel had her head wrecked because I was like, I'd come home and be like, oh, I'm gonna do this, and she's like, no, you're not, or like, oh, I'm gonna start doing this, and I had this urge to fill the void that the C2C left behind, effectively, because it had been such an intense part of the last year, especially the last 2 weeks or whatever, the actual cycle itself.
Yeah.
I felt this urge to fill it, and that's what I'm trying to go back to, just being like resisting that urge, because I know the positives of the cycle, but I also know how much it like sort of wore me down in a way.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Great experience, all the same, boys. Couldn't have done it with 2 better men, and
of course.
and Ross as well. But it was one hell of an experience.
Yeah, it was indeed. Unbelievable.
I mean, is there anything left to say?
I don't think so.
No.
We're just proud that we did it, and proud that we could get the money to the charities, and the fact that is we got money and it was a good experience for us. I think it was a win-win.
It is.
Yeah.
Win-win for everyone. Yeah.
life like there's lifelong friendships made there. Like one thing that you kind of almost forget because now they're just friends and stuff like that. But we met some top people along the way. Like even non-cycling people. Like I knew the bicycle engineering academy coming into that, and they gave us the bikes, and that was incredible. That was the foundation of it. But look at Kieran with Soul Foods. Would have never met
Shout
him.
out Kieran, actually.
Yeah. What a nice guy that guy is. And I go up to him and I talk to him, and then the cycle's forgotten about. But now you have a friend, and it's the same with it goes with everybody. It goes with Tully, it goes with John Phelan. We went down, like had dinner with him or whatever. Like all these people that helped us along the way. What great people ended up, and it's no surprise. Like you put good energy out there, you meet the right people, and they come back and tenfold.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
But yeah, no, I like that's the aside from obviously the cycle, but yeah, what an experience. 12 months of.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Hell.
So I was only thinking that we would have came up with the idea literally 12 months ago. This time
It's
last
pretty
year.
much
Yeah,
today.
yeah.
Yeah,
It's a nice way to kind
Yeah.
of finish it all off now. Put the
full circle.
full circle, exactly. Put the little bow on the present.
There you go.
Send her home.
Send her home
Boys,
happy.
it's an absolute pleasure. I'm delighted we got to do this. I'm delighted we got to have that experience as well. And yeah, I will see you boys on the next one.
Love it.
Over.
Love it if we beat them.